as a viewer on the other side of the world, can feel the vibe. Euros just hit different.
I mean, America was crazy because of their fans, but when you come to a European one, Motocross of Nations, the whole fans come out, fancy dress, costume, the Irish are dressed up as leprechauns.
I met a gypsy.
By the time you come down to your two races, which are 30+2, you've already had some decent time on the track, you know, and a lot of riders through the COVID, through the pandemic situation, when we were down a one-day format, Europeans on Saturday, you know, practice, which morphed into time practice, and then your two races. That was the same for MX2 and MXGP on Sunday. Some hated it, some loved it, because it's literally one day, turn up, bring it, leave, see you again on Wednesday, same format, see you again on Sunday. Some riders needed that track time on Saturday just to get rid of arm pump, just to feel comfortable, just to work some things out of the bike, whether it's tires, suspension, some fine tweaks here or there, mapping, whatever, you know, gearing. And, you know, when you have a one-day format in America, that's what it is. It's literally, you turn up, you have to be on the top of your game. You know, even when the Americans come over from Motocross of Nations, or the American-based riders, you know, come over from Motocross of Nations, for them to get a 45-minute free practice
On a track they've probably never ridden.
on a track they've never ridden is a luxury, you know, because you don't get the same going the other way as a rider going from World Championship into AMA outdoor, because you've literally just got that, you know, that free practice and the time practice, you know, however it works there, and straight in. But 45 minutes just to learn the track, there's no pressure, apart from the pressure the riders might put on themselves, because they go there with a target on their back probably, and of course they want to have that sort of fast lap just to sort of their own shot in the arm,
flex,
you know, and go, yeah, you know, we're on your soil and we've just popped in the fastest lap in our group, and there's 3 classes, don't forget. But yeah, you know, I think for someone like Jorge Prado, it would be interesting, you know, to see him out there. I know he's made some noises recently, but they're hot and cold at the moment, so whether he does end up going there or not, it's not the first time we've heard those rumours from him or his camp or whatever else. But you know, initially when he was going for his second championship, we thought he would probably go there the following year, but he stuck around for MXGP instead. But he has been unlucky with injuries and health issues, you know. He probably could have won a championship first time out, you know, in 2020, but got COVID after winning the Belgian GP in Lommel, showed up the next day with a negative test, positive test, and that was it. His season was done, you know, because of how closely packed together those next few races were. He couldn't be anywhere for 2 weeks. Well, then championship's done by then, you know. Dislocated a shoulder, I think, in Maggiora, or missed Maggiora because he dislocated a shoulder the year after that, and crashed in Teufelstal with Jeffrey that time on the finish line. So, you know, there's been a couple of times where possibly, and he was in the title hunt both times. You know, so there's another 2 titles that have gone begging there. You know, if he wins this one, he could have already, you know, it could be
champ,
3 or 4 time, and maybe even looking at knocking on the door as a 5-time champ, joining Tim and Jeff, you know, in the current crop of riders. So yeah, you know, everything that you see on paper is not all sort of how it appears, you know.
I think to bring up the Euros going to the US, it'd be pretty cool to see what Vial can do this summer. I think that'd be a really cool indication of I guess what could be, you know.
Yeah, and I think he's already impressed in Supercross as well a little bit, you know, like
Definitely.
he's got good starts, he's shown that he's got technique. And again, it's not easy just to go into something.
It's a crazy learning curve, man.
Crazy. But his bread and butter, if he can stay healthy now for the rest of Supercross, and can show up healthy to the first round, I'm not saying it'll be a walk in the park for all the reasons I've just mentioned. You know, different style of track, the flow of the track, maybe the bike setup that he's used to over here in terms of what you can get away with a factory bike versus what you can get away with a factory bike in the US in terms of rules and regulations and that sort of production bike rule. But heat, humidity, learning tracks, you know, will he be on it for the first race, not be on it for the first race, but then show up in the second one and, you know, sort of show that he's there. There's a lot of people say that he'll go there and win. Whether he sort of dominates it or not, I don't know. But Tom is also somebody that I think thrives on a bit of confidence, you know. And having not won a Supercross race, not find himself on the podium on a regular basis like he was here in Europe, you know, knocking on the door in his first year. He got his first race win in his first year, you know, he got podiums. He won in his second year with, not in his first, with KTM. And then lost the championship and then came back and won a championship. So that's the rider thriving on confidence, you know, with race and podiums and GP wins and all that. And he's not been doing that this year. So how much will that play into the psyche? Or will it be reverse psychology where he turns up going, dude, I'm a two-time world champion.
Yeah.
I've got like 24 Grand Prix wins or whatever I've got. Won this many races while I was in Europe. And he can go in there with the chest out and say, yeah, this is mine.
Yeah.
Because that's what you need to do. Wherever you go, you need to sort of like puff the chest out and walk the walk and make sure you can back it up, you know. And, you know, maybe we'll see that Tom Vialle show up.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not going to be easy. Like, that's a big ask. And even just to go and adjust to the routine of living in another country is like super difficult.
And, you know, there's probably a handful of riders that can lift that 250 title in outdoors.
Yeah.
This year, you know, and, you know, is Hunter the favourite with Jet going 450, for instance? You know, like I say, there are so many variables there. But from a standpoint of being around those riders already, because the test tracks are going to be busy now, I guess, with riders getting ready for setting up outdoors and
Tuesday
things like
Parla, Thursday Glen Helen.
You're going to be riding with them. Everyone's got the itchy finger, you know, on the stopwatch, and they'll have an idea where they're at in terms of lap times, because with social media now and everyone on phones and everyone video and stuff, word gets around, news gets around, you know. So a lot of that it's a different era, you know. A lot of that, you used to be able to be secretive about all that stuff, but not anymore.
Yeah.
And so that generation that we're living in, you know, he'll know where he's at in that respect as well, you know. So maybe he will walk tall. Maybe there is still some work to do. I don't know.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, gypsytales.com, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.